back to episode 3 of the Steel Show. Yotes fans, obviously everyone in the Yotes community is excited this week. Coming off of a huge win at Eastern Oregon. They're ranked in the top 12 or 10 or whatever it was. So obviously you guys feeling pretty good after that game. Talk about your thoughts on the win and how big it is to get a win in LeGrand.
It's a great place to win a game. I'll say that. And we have the trip and the way we travel. It's great. I think I mentioned we practiced at Powder Valley High School, and it's just we've done that the last number of times, and I think the guys like it. It was a beautiful day, and we eat well. The hotel's fine, and then we get up and play at 1 o'clock. It was awesome, and I had a feeling that we were really ready because I thought we had a really good week of practice, and again, that says something about the team. I don't think there's a player on the face of the earth that likes to practice. Some guys make the most of it and do love the football component. I think we got a higher concentration of those guys maybe than we've ever had.
Great.
So practices have been fantastic, and what that allows us to do, I mentioned last week, I know, is improve. So I just felt like we're moving into games with this tremendous surge of enthusiasm and knowledge of the game plan, very specific, knowing why we're doing what we're doing, which, and we'll talk about this later, allows you to adjust and play the game. Football is a game of adjustments, and so I was thrilled for the guys. I was thrilled the way we came out. We scored on our first drive, had a little trouble with them early on in their quarterback scramble. But hats off to Coach Jewell. His adjustments they immediately had made an adjustment, got to some stuff that we know and can do, and so he was fully planning on that. So, and then beyond that, Eastern Oregon is a rivalry. It's physical. And I thought we were the most physical team. And I think and sometimes what I told the team was that doesn't show up in the first quarter or the second. It does, but but the story's not told yet. So it's really what's happening in the fourth quarter. So that was very, very huge step forward for the Yotes to come up so big in the fourth quarter, completely shut them down, and then continue to move the ball, and we finally got one in the red zone late. So that was very, very satisfying, and it's a big game. They were ranked 11th. Somehow they're still ranked number 13. But
I've seen two different ranking systems out there, so it's hard to know which one's which. But it's so early in the season right now that it doesn't matter, right? We just got to win each game, week by week.
All the teams are good, absolutely, and hats off to Eastern Oregon. It was a great thrill for us to beat a really, really good team, really good quarterback, and their defensive ends are as good as we see. So it was very, very satisfying to win that ball game.
Absolutely, and starting with the defense, because they obviously shined all day Saturday, really besides the one big play to Kai Quinn there in the first quarter. So, can you talk about just what stood out to you on the defense, what you guys were able to do so well in containing Kai, and just their overall performance on Saturday?
Well, I think what you always want to do against a really good quarterback is you just want to make them uncomfortable. So there's a number of ways that you can do that, and one of them is to get some pass rush. So that was immediately apparent that we were going to find a way to get some pressure on him. And two, you never let him feel comfortable with the coverage. So I think what we are able to do, we're obviously able to play man-to-man. We have our best group of guys in the secondary that we've ever had, so we can man up across the board. But it also allows us to do a number of things and really try to confuse a good passer. And again, we were able to disguise a little bit and look like we're blitzing or look like we're playing vanilla and then get into something else. So it's really all those things. And again, it's the experience we have in the secondary, just the nature of those guys back there. They're extremely communicative, and so that's been a pleasure to watch. And again, Coach Jewell is doing a fantastic job. Little shout out to Tristan Alisi, who's coaching the corners. Played for us in 2019, had a great career, and it's great to have him back. He's doing a great job with that secondary. So I think for us, it kind of all starts in the secondary, and then Dylan Martinez is playing lights out. I mean, we had him in pass coverage. I mean, he's running with wide receivers down the field. So he can go. He's a phenomenal player. Tanner Leaf had another great game in his second start, and so that's great. And then up front, we're doing some great things, kind of by committee. And,
it is. But
Miles Moffett and
the...
Cole Schmidt and Keegan, along with Keegan McCoy. Vince Seth is doing great. Brad Cushman, I mentioned last week, just doing great stuff. Tanner Sackman, couple of sacks for the man was awesome. But a lot of that was coverage, and then guys just being relentless. So love the defense, the way they run around, and very, very satisfying.
Okay, Coach, so, obviously, like I said, defense shines, plays great in really all phases, all levels of the defense. Moving over into the offense, we were talking briefly before this about how good day for the offense. Obviously, a lot of total yards, really moving the ball up and down the field in both halves for the most part. Made some plays when it counted, but obviously struggled a little bit in the red zone. So can you expand on maybe what's been your issue in the red zone so far? Because obviously Rocky, kind of similar situation where he gave up some opportunities. And then maybe what you got to improve on.
Well, for sure, those are one and the same. We need to improve in the red zone, but I'm not wringing my hands and overly frustrated. I think this past Saturday, little bit of crazy things happened. I mean, just and it's still detailed stuff that we need to work out. But we're explaining we had a wide open receiver. Their defensive end gets a hand up, and just some of the faking and where we're supposed to be and all those little things should have alleviated that. We got a holding penalty that's difficult to see on the film, and Hunter Juarez makes a great run. Missed a couple field goals, which that's another area of concern. But again, that's at least 4 scores right there that kind of changed the game. So again, what I've loved about the offense is, and I thought it was a very, very good day for the offense. I think the offense took a step forward. I thought Jack Rice played smart and played well, ran around. They have an extraordinarily good pass rush with some of their matchups. But again, we ran the ball. If we can run the ball for 200 yards and pass the ball for 200 yards, we're going to be tough to beat if we can execute in all areas of the field. And so I was thrilled with that. Again, the physical nature, I vowed, and I probably said this 10 times on the Steel Show, but it's a good reminder for people where I just believe in all my years of football, you have to have a physical running game to win big. And again, that's coming along. And Nick Calzaretta, of course, is extraordinary. It starts with him. The offensive line is getting more and more physical. Our tight ends we like to use, and these are tough guys. Connor Gagan and Ben Ruby are tough guys and really bring that physical element, which helps you. I think people sometimes view the Yotes as, well, they're just the good old Yotes coming to town and maybe not so physical. And you remember in your playing days where a crackback block could make a difference in the whole psyche of a game and a team. So we've continued to build on that, and so that's what I loved about the offense. Our receivers are good blockers. We threw some bubble screens out there and made some yards, which is important for us to get people to go sideline to sideline.
Make them guard the whole field.
Takes the pressure off of the inside run game, and there was some big gaping holes in there, which was, again, great planning by Greg Stewart, our offensive line coach. Our offensive coordinator, Brian Taylor, is doing a fantastic job. I've loved the game plans the last 3 weeks. They've been very, very good, and so we are excited about playing and developing the team,
the direction of the offense.
Getting new guys involved. So really all positive. Completed a high percentage of passes, couple of drops, but I thought we did some really, really good things.
And so one play to talk about for the offense, and just what this does for what it can kind of mean for the mentality of the season, but certainly a big game like that on the road against a good team and a rival. 4th and 1, pretty early in the game, midfield. You decide to go for it, and you guys line up in your under center formation and go right up the gut with Calzaretta, and got that play no problem. Offensive line gets great push. Calzaretta runs hard. You guys convert that and move the chains. how big of a play is like that to be aggressive early on midfield and be able to just hand it off and hit him right in the mouth with a play?
Well, the great thing, Brock, and you really are right on it. We want to be the aggressors.
Mm-hmm.
We want, and it's a group of plays that we have out of that formation, and we practice it every week. We're practicing it for 8 weeks, and we have confidence in it.
Yep.
And we try to rally the team, and we're sending in the war package, and big Cole Matson's running in there, all 6'8", 380 pounds of him, and and the defense kind of knows what we're gonna do, but they don't really. And having our 2 tight ends, one at fullback, one at tight end, and then Nick running the ball, it's pretty good. So again, it is a mentality thing. Everyone knows what's going to happen when we call war. So I just said, we're going for it.
Yep.
It's war.
Yep.
The whole sideline erupts with war, and some guys really get into it, and it was a big deal. That was you don't think that's a significant play that early in the game, but it really was.
Yeah, it gets the confidence going, and it says we're going to be the more physical team here, and it's a chance to display that early on the road of we're going to be the more physical team right now when you know what's coming.
Absolutely. And then it raises the confidence of the offense. Now late in the game, we had a similar situation, 4th and 1.5. And we were going to go for it, and I'm looking at it going, well, that is 1.5 closer to 2.
Yep.
Decided to punt, and that ended up being the right move because Jacob Johnson puts it inside the 5. But again, you have to. There's different phases, different times in the game, and ultimately our goal is to win the football game. It's not to prove our machismo,
of course.
But there is a part of that physical part of the game that I believe in. Tall, skinny, former quarterback, but I believe in the physical part of the game. And then being smart. I thought we did the smart thing down the stretch, punted, and we had a great punting game too. So don't want to neglect.
And it's different with a lead late in the second half, right?
Absolutely.
And your defense is on a roll. Let's put our defense in a good position here.
Absolutely.
So okay, Coach. So moving right along, putting the Eastern game to bed again. Congratulations on that. Always huge to get a win there. And I know the fans. I was so excited on Saturday. It's always a great night after you can beat Eastern. But moving on to Carrol, homecoming week. Obviously, you've got a chance to watch a few of their games on film. Right off the bat, what stands out to you about playing Carrol this week?
Well, I think the number one thing is Carrol is a really good football team, and again, we have to appeal to our guys, and they'll see it on the film. Carroll they're 1-3. They should be at least 3-1, and let one slip away, and that's football. It's happened. We let one slip away against Rocky. I felt like so. Again, and Carrol is a storied program. I mean, they are the elite of the conference in one sense, with their heritage and history and all that. So they're going to be ready to go, and they're very good on defense. They're very big up front, and have always done a great job on the offensive line. Not quite sure what they're doing at quarterback. They started a freshman from Coeur d'Alene last week who had a great game for them, and they have a returning senior, I believe, who we heard was hurt, but we don't know. He's on the depth, so we got to prepare for both of those guys. I think it's the critical game in the season. I really do. I think it's a big game. Carrol, people know Carrol College. People have heard of Carrol College in Boise, Idaho, and so I have the utmost respect for their coaching staff, and
Purcell's done a good job since he's been there.
Very good. And their defensive coordinator Wes Nurse is a former Boise State guy, and I've coached with him in the past, and really a good friend and a very good. They're Star Wars on defense. They really are all over the place, and it's tough to detect. It's very challenging, and then offensively they're physical, and then they started throwing the ball a little bit last week. So they're just coming into it. They just had a tough start. So it's don't want them to break out against us, and that's the threat. I mean, they're again, they have a lot of pride in that program. Their backs are against a wall.
Yep.
They are going to be really, really serious about their preparation. They'll be ready to go. We need to be on our game for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And talk about, being the homecoming game, what the homecoming game means just to the program, and really any program, but certainly C of I when you have such great support, and how important it is to win this specific homecoming game at home against a program like Carrol.
Yeah, there was I forget what year it was, but we lost, I think, 4 out of 5 of our home games. And they were great games and everything, but it's hard. You want to, I believe it's the community's team.
100%.
So we want to win,
Especially in front of
with the community, with them participating. And so it's also always great to win on the road, like we were talking earlier at La Grande, but we need to win home games, and it is very, very important. We want people feeling great before, during, and after. And it is important to the program because my goal in this is to build something special. I think it's a special college. The College of Idaho is second to none, in my opinion, academically, and the whole culture of the place. The presidents, Jim Everett and Doug Brigham, have done a fantastic job of taking it to the next level. Regan Rossi with the athletic department is second to none, and in the NAIA, to be perfectly honest. And we like to do our part. Football is a key component in there, and winning football games on Saturday afternoons is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it's important to the community and important to the alums, and with more alums here on homecoming, it's a big deal. So we really look forward to the opportunity to showcase and be part of the excitement of homecoming again.
And so, for the game specifically, obviously you've got, now you've got 4 games under your belt, almost mid-season, right? So you get to kind of, at this point, a lot about the strengths of your team and maybe the weaknesses and all. So you got a pretty good idea of what you guys do well. What's maybe, if you could pinpoint one thing that you would want to see improved this week in this game, now that you're kind of midway through, what would that be?
I think it's consistency throughout the game, which would include the red zone.
Yeah.
We gotta resolve the kicking game issues, and maybe that's deciding not to kick when we might normally kick. So we gotta find a way to instill confidence in our place kickers, and so because you drive down, you work hard, and sometimes things don't work out, you don't score a touchdown. It's still a positive jolt.
Great drive.
If you can put it through the uprights.
100%, yeah.
And if you don't, it's like,
a little deflating sometimes.
So we want to avoid those deflating moments, because I do think we're on track, we're improving. I mean, people ask me about penalties. I've tried to stop worrying about penalties, because you just can't control that part of the game, and guys are trying. They aren't trying to commit fouls.
Of course.
And so and we coach that hard, and so that's important. I love that we're getting more and more people involved in making catches. Charlie Maines made a couple catches this week. First catches as a Yote.
Yeah.
And that's important. Tanner Leaf had his first start last week, but lots of guys are contributing.
Yeah.
Last week I played 2 quarterbacks, or 2 weeks ago. This week I didn't. And that's hard, because they both deserve to play. And so I want to do that, and sometimes in the flow of the game it doesn't work out, but I'd love to get in both quarterbacks. I'd love to have them both be successful. They both deserve it. They're both working hard. They bring an element that maybe the other doesn't bring. And so I love those guys. I love their attention to detail. But really it's to be able to hit on all cylinders regardless of what happens. I think I told the team on Sunday, I think we're improving, and I love the way we adapted. And I think those are 2 things that mean a lot to a season with a team. We have to keep improving, and then adaptability is just part of what well-coached football teams do. So I take that very seriously. I'm very, very proud of our coaching staff.
Yeah.
But this week will be a special test. Again, Carrol, I think, is one of the best coach teams in the conference, and they'll have some wrinkles that we'll need to adapt to. So already early in the week, they have our attention.
Of course.
So it's that. But to answer your question, it's that adaptability, and then executing at a high
Yeah.
level as we make the minor adjustments.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, great. Well, Yotes fans, obviously, like I said, homecoming game. Can't wait to see you guys out here. Want to see a great crowd for this big home game against Carrol, and a game where the Yotes can stay atop the Frontier Conference standing. So we appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Thanks.
Thank you.